Have you ever pull out your phone just to check one thing and next thing you know, an hour's gone? Yeah, I've been there too, my friend. And let's be real, it sucks. Because deep down you know that time could have been used for something that actually pushes you closer to your goals, something real, something you care about, right?
Your biggest risk to your future isn't your competition. It's the distractions you insist on keeping in your life.
Here's the thing, it's not just about willpower. It's not just about being more disciplined. The real problem is how easily we get distracted without even realizing it. It's a damn trap. But I found a way out. And by the end of this video, you're going to have some real strategies that actually work. Stick with me and I'll show you how to reclaim your time and put it toward the things that really move the needle in your life.
I think because of social media, I've noticed for sure my ability to be super present for a long period of time is not as high as it used to be.
Trust me, once you start applying this, you're going to feel the difference and you'll wish you had started sooner. Before we get into this, do yourself a favor. Throw this video on full screen, maybe grab your headphones, and definitely put your phone aside for a moment. It's time to stop scrolling and start making progress. Here's the thing, brother. Everyone's always worried about competition. You hear it everywhere, like someone's always trying to get ahead of you, trying to outdo you. But let me tell you something real, my friend. Your biggest threat isn't somebody else. It's all the distractions around you. Think about it for a second. It's not about how hard you're working or how focused you want to be. It's about the endless stream of notifications, content, and entertainment that's pulling you away from the stuff that actually matters. Here's what I've realized. Yeah, every time you pick up your phone for a quick scroll, every time you give in to the temptation and check the message, that's time you could have spent working on something meaningful, something that could actually move your life forward. And don't get me wrong, I've been there too. You open your phone just to check one thing and suddenly 30 minutes or even an hour is gone. What did you accomplish? Nothing. It's funny, right? We all have these big goals in mind, things we want to achieve, but instead of just getting on with them, we procrastinate.
People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
That's the crazy part. We'd rather put off the hard stuff because it feels easier to scroll through Instagram or watch YouTube than to sit down and work on that project, write that report, or study for that test. I too am guilty of this, brother. There were so many times I dodged the things I knew would actually help me grow just because it felt easier to do something pointless. But that's the trap, my friend. That's exactly how we get stuck. I'll never forget this one time when I was supposed to be preparing for an important presentation. I'd set aside the whole afternoon, determined to make real progress, but then I thought, I'll just check Instagram for a minute. You know how it goes, right? Next thing I knew, I'd spent over an hour watching random videos and scrolling through posts that I'd probably never even remember. And when I finally put my phone down, I felt that mix of guilt and regret. It was a wake-up call. I realized I'd been wasting time on distractions instead of focusing on something that could actually change my life. That's when I knew things had to change, and I started to figure out ways to break free from that cycle.
But very quickly, when you're scrolling on social media, you're no longer getting the novelty, but you're continuing to do it, and you almost don't know why you're doing it.
I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but the world we live in today is literally designed to steal your attention. It's not an accident. Every app on your phone, every notification, every social media platform, it's all created to keep you hooked for as long as possible. That's how these companies make their money. Zillions of dollars, my friend. They give you some distractions and cheap dopamine up front, but behind the scenes, they're stealing your time. And that time, buddy, is literally worth its weight in gold. The more data they gather about your behavior, the more they can hit you with those perfectly targeted ads. It's wild when you think about it. It's like they know exactly how to keep you hooked. Listen, brother, this isn't just some harmless distraction we're dealing with here. It's a whole system designed to take your focus away from things that actually matter. You probably don't even realize it's happening. It's like you're scrolling, and the next thing you know, you've lost minutes or even hours of your day. What's even worse is that while you're wasting time on their platforms for some random piece of content that doesn't benefit you in any real way, you're also training your brain to need these constant hits of dopamine. And what does that lead to? A shorter attention span, more distractions, and less focus on the things that really count, like the high quality content that actually helps you grow. Listen, my friend, you have to let that sink in for a second. People are so short-term minded because they can't just stop scrolling over and over again. they actually make it harder for them to achieve their goals. You think that scrolling is just a way to pass time, or maybe you're just trying to relax, but what you're really doing is making it harder for yourself to focus when you actually need to. You're rewiring your brain to crave that next hit of instant gratification, and it's killing your ability to do deep, meaningful work. You're not just wasting time, you're actively making it harder for yourself to succeed. Trust me, this is a battle each one of us is fighting. It's simply been made way too easy to get distracted and lose focus. But remember, this is something you can overcome, and there's a few simple hacks, which I will tell you in just a moment. According to a survey I recently conducted on my channel, I found out that most of you spend more than 6 hours a day on your phone. This seems quite a lot, but let me know in the comments if this is different for you, or if you agree with this statistic. Also, when was the last time you caught yourself scrolling through social media? Did you actually notice it and stop, or did you just keep scrolling forever? I'm curious to know what it's like for you. I'm not gonna lie. Being distracted all the time has some serious consequences, and they go way beyond just losing a few hours here and there. It messes with your ability to focus, and not just on your work, but on life in general. When you're always checking your phone, flipping between apps, and scrolling endlessly, you're training your brain to only handle short bursts of information. You're basically conditioning yourself to need constant stimulation, and the more you do it, the worse it gets. And here's the thing. It's not just about losing time, brother. Constant distractions ruin your ability to focus and be present.
Your phone distracts you all day long. It's just a huge distraction.
Ever noticed how hard it is to just sit down and concentrate on something without checking your phone? That's not an accident, my friend. The more you train your brain to need those little dopamine hits from social media or notifications, the harder it becomes to stay focused on anything that requires more than 5 minutes of attention. And let's be real, most things worth doing in life take more than 5 minutes of focus. My friend, I hope you see the vicious cycle here. I've noticed that the more you scroll, the harder it gets to stop. You get used to the quick entertainment, and suddenly things that actually matter, like pushing that important project further, keeping up with consistency in the gym, or even just having a real conversation, start to seem boring. The more you distract yourself, the more you lose the ability to find satisfaction in real, meaningful achievements.
The leading indicator of a successful person is the ability to act without anything happening.
You need to be able to sit down, focus, and do the work without constantly needing something to stimulate you. But distractions keep pulling you away from that. Here's something most people don't want to admit. Distractions are the #1 reason we don't reach our goals. It's not lack of talent, opportunity, or even luck. It's that we're constantly letting ourselves get pulled in a million different directions. People see someone's success and think, wow, they made it, but they don't realize the amount of focus and sacrifice it took to get there. And you can't get that level of success if you're constantly distracted. Let me tell you, my friend, scrolling through social media, checking your phone every few minutes, that stuff is instant, but it's also fleeting. Real success takes time. It takes patience. It takes consistent effort. But how are you supposed to do that when your brain is wired to jump from one thing to the next every 5 seconds? You can't build anything meaningful if you're always looking for the next distraction. And here's the thing that most people get wrong. The only goals they see as acceptable are the ones on an unrealistic time frame. And in doing so, they set themselves up for failure right from the start. We've been conditioned to think that if we don't get results instantly, we're doing something wrong, but that's not how success works. It's not about how fast you can get there, it's about the direction you're headed in. Trust me, brother, it is direction over speed. Always focus on where you're going, not how fast you're getting there. It's about progress, not perfection. Distractions make it easy to forget this. They make it easy to get frustrated when you don't see immediate results. But here's the truth. Success is a long-term game, my friend. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon that requires consistency and patience. It's about putting in the work day after day, even when it feels like nothing is happening. It's about staying focused, staying in your lane, and not letting the noise of the world pull you off track. My friend, if you've made it this far, you've already gone further than most. Most people get sidetracked, losing focus in their search for answers, but not you. You're different, and that's why I'm sure you'll get further than most. I'll be honest with you, I used to be the same. I was constantly jumping back and forth between tasks without really finishing anything. It was very inefficient. I would mentally masturbate and think about the best way to get things done, but I didn't apply the necessary consistency to finish the thing. Still, I thought I was being productive. I can tell you that there is a big difference between appearing busy and actually getting things done. Here's what I realized, and I hope this gives you some clarity too. There are basically two kinds of tasks. I'll call them focus tasks, or deep work tasks, and admin tasks. Focus tasks are usually these big, meaningful tasks that actually push you forward and help you make progress. You want to focus on just doing that one thing and do this task for at least 30 minutes. Focus tasks need your full attention, no distractions, no quick scrolls on your phone. It's just you and that task only.
Sitting down and focusing on the thing for half an hour will probably help you make progress.
And on the other side, there are admin tasks. It's the little stuff that just keeps you busy, like answering messages, checking emails, or checking out this other thing. And the way I think of all those tasks is in this boat analogy. Admin tasks are like water entering your boat. Doing them feels like constantly bailing out with a bucket of water. It doesn't push you forward, but if you don't have it under control, sooner or later, there will be a problem. If you ignore it long enough, the load gets bigger and bigger until you're overwhelmed and drowning in all the unfinished work. It's a constant battle to keep your head above water. So what I do is split my daily tasks into focus tasks and admin tasks. I learned that if I don't start my day with at least one focus task, I end up feeling like I haven't achieved anything worthwhile. But on the days where I dive straight into a focus task, even if the rest of my day is filled with admin tasks, I still feel like I've made real progress. That's the secret, my friend. Start with something that matters and save the admin stuff for later in the day. Here's my challenge to you. Figure out what your focus tasks are. What are the things that will actually help you grow and move forward, and get those done first without distractions. I promise you'll end your day feeling like you've truly accomplished something. So let's dive into the part of finding solutions on how you can actually stop endless scrolling and take back control of your time, your mind, and ultimately your life. It's not just about knowing that distractions exist, it's about doing something about them. I want to share with you 5 practical tips that have really helped me in the past to refocus and reclaim my time. I'm confident they'll help you too, but let me know if you've found an additional way that has helped you. Look, the first step to fixing any problem is admitting that it's there. And it sounds simple, but here's the thing. We've become so used to constantly being on our phones that we don't even realize how much time we're losing to scrolling. It feels natural. How many times have you thought, I'll just check my phone real quick? And suddenly an hour has passed and you're deep into some random video rabbit hole. Here's what you need to do. Track your screen time. Most smartphones have built-in tools for this now, so there's no excuse. Go ahead and check how much time you're actually spending on your phone each day, scrolling through social media, watching short videos, or aimlessly clicking through apps. Be prepared to be shocked. Trust me, when I first did this, I couldn't believe how many hours I'd lost each day without even realizing it. When you see these figures, something is bound to click for you. And once you realize how much time you actually spend on your phone, it may be much clearer and easier for you to start making changes. Once you're aware of how much time you're losing, the next step is setting some intentional boundaries. This is crucial because without boundaries, you'll fall back into the same habits. It's all about creating a framework where you control your time, not your phone. Decide how much time you actually want to spend on distractions on your phone each day, things like social media, mindless scrolling, and anything that doesn't actively contribute to your goals. Be honest with yourself. This isn't about cutting out important activities like work calls, studying, or even watching quality content like this video. The goal here is to tackle the distractions, not productive activities that actually help you move forward and reach your goals. So if you're spending 6 hours a day on mindless scrolling, aim to cut that down to 3, then 2, and maybe even just an hour or less. The point is to take control over how much of your time goes to things that don't serve you. Use app blockers or set timers if you need to.
I downloaded this app, Opal. I now set it so it blocks Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit from 10 p.m. to 9 a.m., which means I can't scroll at night. And in the morning, when I wake up and sit on the toilet, I cannot scroll Instagram Reels.
Some people even have specific hours of the day where they disconnect entirely. I know it sounds extreme, but this level of discipline is what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't. Listen, my friend, the leading indicator of a successful person is the ability to act without anything happening. It's the ability to focus, to do the work, without constantly needing to check your phone for a dopamine hit. Here's the thing, when you start setting these boundaries, you'll notice how much more intentional your phone usage becomes. You won't be scrolling aimlessly anymore. You'll be using your phone with purpose. And that's a huge shift. Now that you've set boundaries, you need to fill that time with something else, something more valuable. Let's be honest, scrolling is just filling a void. And when we're bored, tired, or avoiding something, we reach for our phones. It's easier to distract ourselves than to face whatever we're avoiding. But here's the good news. You don't have to keep filling that void with mindless distractions. Instead, replace scrolling with something more productive. Maybe it's reading a book you've been putting off. Maybe it's going for a walk, learning a new skill, or working on a hobby. Just find something that brings you real value, something that makes you feel fulfilled. The goal here isn't to just fill your time, it's to move in the right direction. Slowly, over time, you'll start to find satisfaction in activities that aren't tied to instant gratification. The more you invest in yourself, the less you'll feel the need to escape into endless scrolling. Here's where things get a little deeper. It's not just about setting boundaries or finding other activities. It's about being mindful of your habits. You see, every time you feel the urge to scroll, there's something behind it. Maybe you're stressed, maybe you're bored, or maybe you're avoiding a difficult task. Whatever it is, that urge to scroll is a signal. I noticed in the past that pain is the first signal that there's an opportunity for growth. And when you feel the urge to pick up your phone, pause for a second and ask yourself, why? What am I trying to avoid? This moment of discomfort is actually an opportunity. It's a chance to become more mindful of your actions and to start working on the things that really matter. And here's the fact. Feelings don't require action. Just because you feel like checking your phone doesn't mean you have to. It's easy to think that every impulse needs to be acted on, but that's not true. Practice sitting with that urge. Let it pass. The more you do this, the stronger your mental resilience will become, and the less you'll feel controlled by those impulses. Mindfulness isn't just a trendy concept. It's a game changer for taking back control of your focus and attention. It helps you stay present, focus on what's in front of you, and make conscious choices rather than being driven by automatic behaviors. Finally, let's talk about one of the most powerful tools for improving focus, meditation. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this isn't for you, hear me out. Meditation isn't about clearing your mind or becoming some Zen master. It's simply about training your brain to focus, to stay present. I would reckon you to start small, just 3 minutes a day. Find a quiet space, sit down, and focus on your breath. That's it. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Meditation is like going to the gym for your brain. Just like you do bicep curls to build muscle, meditation helps you build your attention span. The only goals that they deem acceptable are ones that are on an unrealistic timeline, and so they doom themselves from the beginning. Don't expect results overnight, but over time, you'll notice that your ability to focus gets stronger. You'll be able to sit down and work on tasks without constantly needing to check your phone or get distracted. I've seen this work in my own life. At first, it was hard. Sitting still for even 3 minutes felt impossible for me, but slowly as I kept practicing, it got easier. Now I can sit and focus for long periods without feeling the need to check my phone. And that focus has translated into other areas of my life, whether it's working on projects, reading, or just being present with the people I care about. At the end of the day, breaking the habit of constant scrolling isn't about making one massive change. It's about small, consistent actions. Every time you choose to put down your phone, every time you decide to focus on something more valuable, you're building a new habit. And the more you practice these small habits, the easier it becomes to stay on track. And here's the truth. Accept yourself by accepting the ideal that we can live up to. You don't have to be perfect. No one expects you to quit scrolling cold turkey or suddenly become a productivity machine. But you do have to start. Start by recognizing the problem, setting boundaries, replacing distractions with meaningful activities, practicing mindfulness, and meditating for better focus. These small steps will add up over time. You'll find yourself more in control of your time, more focused on your goals, and less reliant on your phone for entertainment. And that's where the real change happens. You don't have to let distractions control your life anymore. You have the power to take back control, to focus on what matters, and to start living intentionally. If I were you, I would start immediately. I would start today.
Get control. Free your mind, stop scrolling, stop clicking, and start living.
All right, you've made it this far, which means you're already taking steps to regain control of your time and focus. I hope by now you understand that small habits lead to big changes. As Steve Jobs once said, your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. I've put together something special for you, a guide that dives into a force most people overlook, but it's the real key to long-lasting change. It's not about talent or luck. It's something way deeper, and once you tap into it, it can transform everything. If you're ready to explore what could be a real game changer in your life, check out the link and dive in. Trust me, it's worth it.